Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Coming Down to Earth with Spirit podcast with me, David Hale. Like with Season 1, we will continue talking about all things spiritual in a real and down-to-earth way. So I hope you can join me on my podcast journey so you can learn from my own spiritual journey and experiences with spirit in order to help you on your own spiritual journey and development. So join me now as we get into this episode. Hello everybody, I hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Now, last night I did a divine service for an online divine service for a spiritualist centre. And as part of doing a service for a spiritualist centre or a church, the medium has to do an address or talk on some philosophy. And last night I did an address based on finding our purpose, or at least understanding our purpose. Because not everyone does watch services, like divine services, not everyone gets the benefit of a medium's address. So I thought I would turn that address that I did last night into this podcast episode, because I think it's an important one for people to just think about. And actually, after I did this service, I received a message from a fellow medium who did watch the service and thanked me for the address, because it really made him think about certain things, because he's going through a process of understanding his purpose at the moment. So I'm going to share it. Obviously, I'm going to tweak it for the purposes of this episode, for a podcast episode, but hopefully you'll get the idea. So I'm going to start by reading a quote which I found online, and it's a quote written by an American businessman and author called Joseph Jaworski, and he wrote a book on, or quite a well-known book, I've never heard of it, but a well-known book based on synchronicity. Now, this quote isn't about synchronicity, but I think based on that, I think he knows his stuff, or has at least done his research about synchronicity and spiritual matters. But I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me. But this quote just stood out to me. And it said, "I discovered that people are not really afraid of dying. They're afraid of not ever having lived, not ever having deeply considered their life's higher purpose, and not ever having stepped into that purpose and at least tried to make a difference." And I wonder how many of you listening have acknowledged or understand what your life's purpose is, or have you allowed someone else to plant that seed of doubt in your mind to make you question your life's purpose? And when that does happen, when you do doubt your purpose or question your purpose, it can make people feel inadequate and feel like they're not good enough, or they just simply question, why am I here? Now, my belief is, and many of you may have the same belief, I don't believe that we are here on this planet by accident. I don't think we're here to merely exist. I believe that Spirit put every single person here for a reason, for a purpose, because we have individually have something to offer. And look, some of you may be fully aware of your purpose. You may already know why you're here and what your purpose is. And if you do, fabulous. Own it, stand in that power, and live your purpose. But some people don't. But how do we find out what our purpose is? Well, that can be a difficult part, because as humans, I feel that we're not very good at analysing ourselves. We're not very good at stopping and reflecting and looking at what it is that we do in life that brings a benefit to others. We're on that hamster wheel of life where we keep going round and round and round and round and round and round, and we never stop to get off and reflect and look at what we're doing again that has a positive impact on other people. And I think that sometimes that is needed, that we need to stop and reflect. And it's funny because as humans, we're very good at analysing everybody else, but we actually need to turn that analysis inwards, take a breath, stop, look at your life and assess what you've got going on within your life. And you know, and the trouble is, these days, everyone wants something bigger and better. They want this big life purpose. They want to do this. They want to change the world. And that's great, but that's not for everybody. And, you get all these people on social media that are showing that they've got this, they've got that, and this is what I'm doing, and I'm making a difference. And sometimes we need to realize that social media, it's not all real. Some of it is put on, some of it is a pretense, but still those things can allow or can make other people feel inadequate or feel less than they are because they don't feel like their purpose is as big as that person's. But we have to remember that, we don't have to have these big purposes in life to feel like we've achieved something. And I know these days, it just seems like everyone's got a picket sign and a cause and they want to save the world and all this stuff. And that's great because, we do need people who are going to stand up against the resistance. They are going to challenge the narrative and they're going to stand up and have their voice be heard. And yes, we do need those people. But that's their purpose. That's their journey in life. So your purpose is going to be different. Again, it doesn't have to be this big life-changing thing. And also remember that, your purpose can be found in what you would consider to be the small, mundane, day-to-day aspects of life. And also that your purpose may change throughout your life. We all go through different phases and stages of life. And I believe that our purpose is going to change throughout our life as well. Having said that, though, I think there are people out there who they live their life's purpose. And there's this one thing that they have that is a thread throughout their life. If I look at my sister, for example, ever since she was a little girl, she's always wanted to work with animals. And that's been a constant theme throughout her life. And she's now in her 30s and she is the co-owner of her own veterinary practice. She went to college, she studied really hard. So she's a qualified veterinary nurse. And yeah, as I say, she's a co-owner of her practice. So her purpose, if I look at it from the outside, her purpose is to care for animals, to make animals better. So for her, that is one of her life's purpose, or one of her big life's purposes. She may have other little ones, but that's her big life purpose. But again, it doesn't mean that you have to have the same as her. Her friend doesn't have to have the same as her. They're all going to have different purposes. So I'm going to give you some examples from my own point of view, just so you can understand that sometimes our purpose is not obvious because we just get on with life. We don't stop and think, oh, this is my purpose. And as I say, they can be found in our day-to-day aspects of our life. So I'm going to take being a parent, right? Now, you might think that, and if you are a parent, you might think to yourself, well, I'm just a parent. I wanted kids. I wanted a family. So that's it. I'm a parent. But actually, if you look deeper into that, you're not just a parent. Because I believe that Spirit placed your children in your life to give you the purpose of nurturing, raising, teaching, developing, and rearing decent human beings with good values and morals and ethics, because we need those type of people in the world. 'Cause let's face it, our own leaders don't have any morals or ethics. Well, not all of them do anyway. And so we need those kind of people, and your purpose of being a parent is to do that, because we need those decent human beings that are going to add to the further evolution of our world, right? So I believe that within being a parent is the purpose. And as I said, your purpose may then change. So for example, when your kids get to a certain age, they are going to fly the nest at some point, right? So your purpose may then change slightly. Now, look, it doesn't stop you being a parent, right? The kids are never too old. As my mum reminds me when she says things like, David, you're never too old to go over my knee. Or if I've been extra cheeky, she'll use my full name and say, David Hale, you're never too old for a clip round the ear roll from your mother. So you're never going to stop being a parent, but your purpose may change and move slightly into a different area. And I believe that's normal. But it's up to you to find out what that purpose is. No one can tell you what your purpose is. I'm going to give you another example here. And I'm just going to take this, dropped in my head when I was thinking about the address. And I'm going to take the example of being a hairdresser. So I may have some hairdressers, hairstylists listening to this. Now, you may think that, no, being a hairdresser is just, it's your job, right? You go to work, you cut hair to pay the bills. Yes, you enjoy it. Hopefully you do enjoy it. But that's it. You think of it as being your job. Well, I believe it's more than that. Because if you look at exactly what you do and what the outcome of cutting someone's hair is, you will find your purpose. So I don't know about you, but whenever I've had my hair cut, I feel great. I feel lighter. I feel smarter. I feel cleaner. I feel fabulous. That's what the purpose of a hairdresser is. They're not just cutting my hair, but they're making me feel good about myself. You, if you're a hairdresser, you're listening to this, you are allowing other people to feel good about themselves. And that's what we need, because nowadays, I think a lot of people are down on themselves because of what is portrayed in the media and whatever. So you're not just a hairdresser, or you're not just cutting hair. That is part of your purpose. You are making people feel good. You're allowing people to look in the mirror, even if it's just for 1 week, and say, do you know what? My hair looks damn good today and I feel good. You can either go deeper than that. And now, if you are a chatty hairdresser, if you've got a chatty client, you could be there for an hour together, putting the worlds to right. So a hairdresser can sometimes act as a bit of a counsellor. You get things off your chest, your client gets things off their chest, and they leave feeling good because they've been able to speak to a stranger without being judged. It's just a conversation. But again, it's making people feel better. It's allowing people to breathe and just to get things out. That's a purpose. You're not just cutting hair. So you see, within the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, the job that you do, within those things can be your purpose. And again, it's important to remember that it doesn't mean, just because, you think it's a small thing, doesn't make it a small thing. It doesn't make it any less important than anyone else's purpose. So with that said, don't allow anyone else to put a seed of doubt in your mind to make you question your purpose. Because what they do is they just project this idea of your purpose having to be a big life-changing thing, doing things for charity, trying to save the world, trying to change this, trying to change that. Again, that's a nice purpose to have, but we need other people on this planet with other purposes that are also going to benefit different people or different situations. So no one's purpose is any more important than yours. So take what you will from this episode, and I at least hope it gets you to think about things in a different way. Maybe it'll make you stop for a second, as I say, get off that hamster wheel, and just really think about what you do in your life and try and find the purpose in it. And hopefully when you do, it will make you feel a bit better, or it'll make you go, okay, I'm going to think a bit more about that. And when you do finally understand what your purpose is, or one of your purposes is, because you said you may have many, acknowledge it, own it, and stand in your power with it, and just continue to move it forward and continue to live your purpose. So remember, you are here for a reason and a purpose, and your purpose is just as valid and important as everyone else's. Thank you all for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Well, there you have it. That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and you found it interesting. There are plenty more episodes to come, so stay tuned, and I'll speak to you all soon.